Mexico, officially the United Mexican States, is a federal republic in North America. It is bordered on the north by the United States, on the south and west by the Pacific Ocean, on the southeast by Guatemala, Belize, and the Caribbean Sea, and on the east by the Gulf of Mexico, covering almost 2 million square kilometers. Mexico is the fifth largest country in the Americas by total area and the 13th largest independent nation in the world, with an estimated population of over 120 million. It is the 11th most populous country and the most populous Spanish-speaking country in the world and the second most populous country in Latin America. Mexico is a federation comprising 31 states and a federal district, its capital and largest city. Pre-Columbian Mexico was home to many advanced Mesoamerican civilizations, such as the Olmec, Toltec, Teotihuacan, Zapotec, Maya and Aztec before first contact with Europeans. In 1521, the Spanish Empire conquered and colonized the territory from its base in Mexico Tenochtitlan, which was administered as the Viceroyalty of New Spain. 3 centuries later, this territory became Mexico following recognition in 1821 after the colony's Mexican War of Independence. The tumultuous post-independence period was characterized by economic instability and many political changes. The Mexican-American War led to the territorial cession of the extensive northern borderlands, 1/3 of its territory, to the United States. The Pastry War, the Franco-Mexican War, a civil war, 2 empires and a domestic dictatorship occurred through the 19th century. The dictatorship was overthrown in the Mexican Revolution of 1910, which culminated with the promulgation of the 1917 Constitution and the emergence of the country's current political system. Mexico has the 15th largest nominal GDP and the 11th largest GDP by purchasing power parity. The Mexican economy is strongly linked to those of its North American Free Trade Agreement partners, especially the United States. Mexico was the first Latin American member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD). It is classified as an upper-middle-income country by the World Bank and a newly industrialized country by several analysts. By 2050, Mexico could become the world's 5th or 7th largest economy. The country is considered both a regional power and middle power, and is often identified as an emerging global power. Due to its rich culture and history, Mexico ranks first in the Americas and 6th in the world by number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. In 2010 it was the 10th most visited country in the world, with 22.5 million international arrivals annually. Mexico is a member of the UN, the WTO, the G20, the Uniting for Consensus and is an observer of the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie since 2014. Etymology: Mexico is the Nahuatl term for the heartland of the Aztec Empire, namely, the Valley of Mexico, and its people, the Mexica, and surrounding territories. This became the future state of Mexico as a division of New Spain prior to independence. After New Spain won independence from Spain, representatives decided to name the new country after its capital, Mexico City. This was founded in 1524 on top of the ancient Mexica capital of Mexico Tenochtitlan. Traditionally, the name Tenochtitlan was thought to come from Nahuatl Tetl, and Noctli, no Ttli, and is often thought to mean, among the prickly pears, growing among rocks. However, one attestation in the late 16th century manuscript known as the Bancroft Dialogues suggests the second vowel was short, so that the true etymology remains uncertain. The suffix "co" is the Nahuatl locative, making the word a place name. Beyond that, the etymology is uncertain. It has been suggested that it is derived from Mexli or Mexitli, a secret name for the god of war and patron of the Mexica, Huitzilopochtli, in which case Mexico means place where Huitzilopochtli lives. Another hypothesis suggests that Mexico derives from a portmanteau of the Nahuatl words for moon and navel. This meaning might refer to Tenochtitlan's position in the middle of Lake Texcoco. The system of interconnected lakes, of which Texcoco formed the center, had the form of a rabbit, which the Mesoamericans paradoxically associated with the moon. Still another hypothesis suggests that the word is derived from Mectli, the goddess of Magi. The name of the city-state was transliterated to Spanish as Mexico with the phonetic value of the letter X in medieval Spanish, which represented the voiceless post-alveolar fricative. This sound, as well as the voice post-alveolar fricative, represented by J, evolved into a voiceless velar fricative X during the 16th century. This led to the use of the variant Mexico in many publications in Spanish, most notably in Spain. Whereas in Mexico and most other Spanish-speaking countries Mexico was the preferred spelling. In recent years the Real Academia Española, which regulates the Spanish language, determined that both variants are acceptable in Spanish but that the normative recommended spelling is Mexico. The majority of publications in all Spanish-speaking countries now adhere to the new norm, even though the alternative variant is still occasionally used. In English, the X in Mexico represents neither the original nor the current sound, but the consonant cluster, Ks. The official name of the country has changed as the form of government has changed. On 3 occasions, the country was known as Imperium Mexicano. All 3 federal constitutions used the name Estados Unidos Mexicanos, or the variant Estados Unidos Mexicanos, all of which have been translated as United Mexican States. The phrase República Mexicana, Mexican Republic, was used in the 1836 constitutional laws. On November 22, 2012, President Felipe Calderón sent to the Mexican Congress a piece of legislation to change the country's name officially to simply Mexico. To be implemented, the bill needed to be passed by both houses of Congress, as well as a majority of Mexico's 31 state legislatures. As this legislation was proposed just a week before Calderón turned power over to Enrique Peña Nieto, Calderón's critics saw this as a symbolic gesture.